he asks, "Do you have anything on you?" Right? And I'm like, "No." And I knew I did. You know, I just was like, no. Because it was hidden, dude. I thought it was hidden good. Right?
Yeah. Spoiler alert, if this ever happened to you, it's not hidden as good as you think. They will find it.
Billy makes songs, hey, I made this one. Jerry builds bikes and they go real fast. They're mental defectives.
Welcome to the Mental Defectives Podcast, a show where we interview interesting individuals with a focus on addiction and mental health. I'm your host, Milligram. That's Millie if you know me, Mr. Graham if you know me. Joined, as always, by the Hurricane Chris of Harleys. He's the gearhead, don't even worry about it. If you know, you know. Okay. You know. Casey knows. He's the gearhead with a heart of gold. It's Mr. Jerry with a G.
I'm glad to be here, man.
Because today...
Hold on. You should hit that like and subscribe button if you dig what we do.
Mental Defectives Podcast on all your social media, because that's where we is. Mental Defectives Podcast, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that fun stuff.
Mental Defectives Podcast brought to you by the House of Hope.
That's right. Because today we have an extremely special guest. He's a sober father, iron worker, Buckeye, and God-fearing family man. He's gone from pickle suit to Dean's List. A true Linden area success story. Please welcome Casey. Casey, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me, guys.
We appreciate you coming on, sir. Casey, where are you from?
I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I grew up on the north side of Columbus. And my parents still live there today.
Hell yeah.
Right
nice. On. And when was the first drink?
The first drink that I can remember, I was 7 years old. And I was at a party with my parents. It was like a New Year's party. And, you know, they were with friends. And I remember my dad giving me a glass of champagne. And I drank it. And I remember, like, feeling the effects. I think that was the first time I ever really, like, felt the effects. Like, I've had, like, a sip of beer or something, like, tasted it. But I think that was the first time I actually, like, felt the effects of alcohol. And then I remember at the end of the night, we all packed into a cab and drove home. And I thought that was super cool.
Hell yeah. So you had that first taste at 7, and then when did you get into, like, actually going out and seeking out alcohol for yourself and drinking and stuff?
I would say probably later in, like, middle school.
Yeah.
That's when I would, like, start, you know, seeking out alcohol. I never, like, after that, alcohol was, like, never really my thing, really. I guess, like, if it was around, like, I would drink. And every time I would drink till I was, like, jacked up, dude. Like, could barely walk. Like, but, yeah, so it was, like, middle school, I would say, is when things started to take a turn for me.
Yeah. What'd that look like?
Well, you know, I grew up, like, playing a lot of sports and stuff. So I was, like, on the 7th grade soccer team and basketball team. And I would say the end of 7th grade is when, like, I started smoking weed and doing that. And that whole summer, like, I just, like, smoked weed and, like, Black and Milds and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Did they have the wine tips yet back then?
Yeah, the wine tips.
Let's go.
So, you know, I was doing stuff like that. And I remember my grades, like, right at the end of 7th grade, they were starting to, like, slip. Like, I was, like, skipping school and stuff like that. And then I remember, like, 8th grade, going into 8th grade, I like, made the soccer team again. And I was at my first game. And the principal came running out there and was like, Casey, like, you can't play. Like, I didn't have the grades to play from 7th grade.
He stopped the game to pull you out?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, because it could have disqualified him.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, that sucked.
Yeah, that sucks.
And then, you know, after that, like, it didn't help any because I wasn't playing sports. So,
yeah.
You got some more free time.
Yeah, so, you know, I just kind of kept doing the same thing, you know. But I remember, like, I came off, like, smoking weed and Black and Milds, and I tried out for the soccer team, and we, like, ran the mile. And the soccer coach was like, man, you must have been really, like, practicing, like running and stuff. Like, you're in shape. And I'm like, yeah, man. The whole time I've just been smoking weed and stuff. I thought I was so funny, dude.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so I kept doing that, just, you know, smoking weed, doing what I was doing, and you know, I came to try out for basketball. I went to tryouts, and the coach stopped me in mid tryouts and was like, "You don't have the grades."
Damn.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, "Fuck, dude." So yeah, and 8th grade was supposed to be like my year, because like I made the 7th grade team, but I didn't play much. Only like 3 7th graders made it. So I was looking forward to like playing and like, you know, being a starter and
Getting some minutes.
yeah, getting some minutes and stuff. And but yeah, that wasn't the case. That didn't happen. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So then, okay, so you're not playing any sports anymore, and then we're like 8th, 9th grade. Where do we pick up on the using and drinking at that point?
So like 8th grade, like I'm still not doing great in school. I finish out 8th grade, and you know, I started getting into more like into like the streets, right? Like, I grew up in a rough neighborhood on the north side of Columbus, off of Cleveland Avenue, on a street called Belcher Drive.
Oh yeah, very familiar.
Yeah, there's a Quick and Easy Mart down there. That I used to hang around a lot, often, in like apartments and stuff. We lived up the street in the houses, but that's the only house I've ever lived in my entire life. Like, my parents stayed in that house.
Yeah.
So I was very familiar with the neighborhood and the people in it. So like, when the sports kind of went out the picture, I started getting more involved into the streets and stuff like that. And like I started not to even care about school, you know. I ended up having to go to like summer school at the end of my 8th grade year, so just so I could be able to go to 9th grade.
Right.
And yeah, so like I just started like selling weed and stuff like that, you know. Getting into that and kind of like learning the ropes of everything, because like for the most part I saw all that stuff, but like I stayed out of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then like I just, until I couldn't anymore, you know.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so then you're selling weed, and then you've crossed into this like threshold of like, okay, now I'm like more in the streets and stuff. Like, what is happening around this point?
So like around this point, so how I even got involved doing that is you know, like I was smoking with friends and stuff, and like of course like you need to make money, right? So it had snowed, and like I went and knocked on my neighbor's door and asked him if I could shovel his driveway, you know. And I've done it before, and you know, at the end of me shoveling his driveway, he like gave me some weed, you know what I mean? I took it back to my buddies and we smoked it, and it was pretty good. And you know, they suggested like you should go back and see if he has more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So in doing that, you know, it started a relationship with him, which led to him like fronting me some stuff. Eventually, like I was getting stuff in the mail. We were getting like pounds of weed in the mail.
Nice.
And things like that. I'll never forget like the postman just handed me this box with like all these pounds of weed in it, dude. And my buddy was there, and he was like, "Did the postman literally just give you that, dude?" I'm like, "I swear to God, this is where it came from." You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, so I was like doing stuff like that for him, and I had like progressed in my weed selling, so to speak.
Right.
And so yeah, then I just started doing that. You know, into 9th grade, I had got my grades up, and I guess I could have played soccer or tried, but to my knowledge, like that wasn't an option. No one ever let me know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just kind of went down from there. You know, I eventually like get into other stuff like ecstasy. You know, I'm selling weed and ecstasy at school.
Yeah.
I'm taking it like I remember being in like social studies, like so high off ecstasy, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, dude.
Right.
Just sitting there, just stuck, like
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
And then all my friends were older, so like I was at like all the lunches. Like I wasn't going to class. And the crazy thing is like no one ever really, I don't think like ever tried to reach out and really help me at the school. You know, it's like Columbus Public for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Would you have listened?
I probably wouldn't have listened,
Right.
though, to be
Right.
honest with you. But you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
And if they did, they would suspend you. And it's like, I didn't want to go to school, be at school
Right,
anyway.
right. It might have made it
what I
worse.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
They used to give us for whatever, you would get like an in-school suspension.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you skip that, then they just suspend you.
Right.
And so then it's like, well, I'll just wait for that. And
Yeah.
then, you know, get my day off that I was going for anyways. Like,
Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing that at school, and you know, I'm drinking alcohol and stuff too. I remember somehow I got drama class, right? I don't know how I like ended up taking this class at all, right? But my buddy like brought in like this vodka, you know, like that cheap vodka, like Conchaca or whatever.
oh, yeah, the
Uh-huh.
plastic.
And we like
yeah.
fill it up a water bottle full, and I, you know,
Yep.
I'm just drinking that. And by the time I think it was like 7th period, like I'm in her class and I am messed up, dude. Like
yeah.
I'm in there with like one eye open. I'm seeing like 3 of her, and I'm trying to hold it together. And then eventually, dude, I just get up and walk right out the class and walk home.
It's like, I'm done.
I just walk home. I didn't
my
live too
God.
far. It was kind of a hike,
Yeah.
but like I walked home, and yeah, thank God I made it home safe.
Yeah,
You know?
right.
Yeah. And it's like 2:00 on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
Right.
And you're like
right.
almost blacked out drunk. Like
Yeah.
only we do that.
Because I could never I could even anytime I drank I could hardly ever manage it. Like I always got extremely messed up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did that, and like I said, I was just skipping school. I got picked up by like a truancy officer
Yeah.
a few times. The end of 9th grade, my friends, I want to say, or 9th or 10th grade, they ended up graduating, so I had no interest in going to school. And kind of at that point too, my dad was like, you know, I don't want the police coming here, and like you got to make a decision, you know what I mean? So I ended up dropping out of school in like the 10th grade. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah.
So
just
what's that?
continued.
So you dropped out and you're still living at home?
Yeah, I'm still living at home.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you're selling all this stuff while you're living at home.
Yeah, while I'm living at home.
Yeah.
Is your use escalating with the selling?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, so I'm still making money, and like I'm still like able to maintain. I'm having a good time.
Right.
Still.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm having a great time.
Mhm.
I'm making money, and I'm doing whatever I want to do. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And did that to me, like the lifestyle was just, it was so much fun. It was like always something to do. Like I could go down the street and like you would always see something crazy or something happen. I remember like there was a police chase, right? We were all standing like on the corner, and there was this police chase, broad daylight. These guys ran into this pole, hopped out of the car, and just scattered. Dude.
Yeah.
And the police are chasing them. Like it was just always something going on. Like I remember the police would just pull up on us and like just harass us and stuff, and guys would take off, and then the helicopters chasing them and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like the way our neighborhood was set up, you could hop 3 fences and be like 3 blocks over.
Yeah.
So like nobody really got caught. It was kind of like a big game, but it was just always something going on. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It was fun, dude.
Exciting.
Yeah.
There's something to that. There's
Yeah.
definitely something to that.
It was fun, and I think like in a way I became addicted to that.
The
too.
lifestyle,
About
man.
the-
Yeah.
about the lifestyle. Just hanging out with the boys. Like sometimes we'd shoot dice or
Yeah.
gamble on 2K or Madden and talk shit.
Yeah.
And like we always had each other's back. You know what I mean? I guess like I kind of always had this idea,
The Mental Defectives podcast is brought to you by Milligram's new single, a grungy pop-punk emo anthem for the ages. Listen to Milligram's new single on all streaming platforms.
Right. I know it's not true. I know this today, but I used to think like my parents like had to love me because they were my parents. You know what I mean? But they were different. Like, I know some of my friends' parents, like, if they told them this teacher did this to me or whatever, like, they would go up to the school and like raise hell. Like, my parents would never do anything like that.
Yeah.
Or like if they went like someone's older brother, if they went and told their other brother, he might come and like see what's going on. Like, my older brother wasn't really like that. He was also way older than me. But like, I got these friends and like they would do these things for me. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, man, this is love right here.
Right.
You know what I mean? I felt like I was always like searching for like love, I guess, in a sense. Like, I used to think like, this is real love right here. Like, we're not related.
Yeah.
Like,
But you're still willing to go out on a limb for me, and it's a sense of community and belonging that,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, and like I would go over their house and they would like act like I was their second child or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I was family, dude. And I was like, man, this is great, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not family and they're doing these things for me. And it was kind of always like that. Even when I was younger, like, my neighbor ended up taking me on like the first vacation I've ever been on, like to North Carolina.
Yeah.
And Great Wolf Lodge. And my family never even been to a vacation. And I used to think like, man, I'm not even like related. Like, it just felt good. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But yeah, so I would be with these guys, and you know they would do things like that for me. You know what I mean? I'll tell a story real quick. Like, for instance, there was talk about some people like robbing me, right? Well, one of my buddies found out, and he ended up grabbing a gun and said, "Come on, Casey, we're gonna go figure out what's going on." And he went and addressed the situation, and nothing came of it. But I was like, man, you know, like this is love right here, you know? So I just, it felt good, and you know, I would have done the same for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
So so we're selling weed and ecstasy at the time, living with the folks. How's stuff progressed from there? Like, are we going up in quantities, getting in more like dangerous situations? You have police run-ins, like because in my experience, like I started like selling weed at like 14 or 15, and when you start, it's all fun and games. Like, you go sell like an ounce or whatever to like a 30-year-old, and they're like, oh, this little fucking kid coming over here, that's hilarious. And then as you get older, it gets like less funny to older people and more serious, and then it just gets shit show.
So it did like progress. So like I would eventually get into like doing pills of my drug use, like Xanax and opiates. At first though, I never even wanted to touch one of them. I did one when my dad got hurt when I was younger, and he was prescribed Oxycontins, and I ended up taking one of those, and me and my buddies like split it and took a piece of it, and I was sick as a dog, man. I was like, I was like, never again. But like later on, like some people I knew were doing them, and like I ended up like taking half of like a Perk 5 or something, and really liked it. I didn't feel that same sick feeling. Like, I felt good, and I like really liked it, and it just progressed from there. Like, next thing you know, I'm taking the whole thing, I'm popping more, and eventually like I'm snorting them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And but still, like, I think I'm still doing good. Like, I'm just having fun. You know what I mean? I'm having fun, and like, I remember too, like when I was younger, like everybody was like, okay, so you're too young to do this. Like, people were doing like other stuff, and I always wanted to do it. Yeah. So when I like got a little older, I was like, yeah, like give me that. Let me try it. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I started doing that, and you know, I did it for a while. I started doing Xanax though, and it was bad because I could never take anything in moderation. Like, I was always extreme with everything I did. Like, I remember just rolling up like 7-gram blunts just for fun. Like we would just do silly stuff like that. Like, it was just always to the extreme. So I remember one of my buddies like had a whole bunch of these Xanax, and I ended up buying them because I knew some people I could sell them to. And of course, like I ended up taking some, you know what I mean? And I'm taking way too much. And that guy, just a lot of things. Like I misplaced like a lot of things, right? And I burned, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like,
Side effects
Sounds
may
like
include
Xanax.
yeah,
misplacing, time travel, petty theft.
Right.
yeah, like I would misplace a lot of things, and somehow like I misplaced like a whole half a pound of weed.
Oh,
And some things got like whatever, and I had to like make it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Cause like I was just out of it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like the what would make me so angry when I would do stuff like that is like you probably threw it in a fucking bush. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're blocked out, you're like, this is a great hiding spot. Ugh.
Right.
And then
Some dumb
yeah,
shit.
some
yeah.
Oh my god.
or somebody could have took it from you. I
Right.
wouldn't
You
even
had
known.
no idea.
Or I could have just gave it to him willingly, like,
Right.
here you go, buddy. Not even remembered. But yeah, I would do that, or I would think I like lost my pills, right?
Oh,
Knowing
sure.
I
Yep.
took all of them.
Oh,
probably.
right.
I took all of them probably. But yeah, that was some fun, I guess. That was some fun. But this is the point where like my friends are starting to notice, right? And I remember I try to find more Xanax, and they're like telling people like, don't sell Casey any Xanax. You know what I mean? Like I'm just doing just wild stuff, I guess. I don't even remember. They would tell me, and I would be embarrassed. I'm like, man, I was doing that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So. Yeah, and then things just progressed. Like I eventually started taking perk 30s, like going up in milligrams, and I would say around that time, like when I started getting into like heavier, like higher doses of that, like I knew things were starting to get bad. You know what I mean? I remember like if I didn't have them, like I would start to feel sick.
Yeah.
What was that first time getting sick like?
Man, it was so weird. It was crazy too, cause like part of me knew I was sick because of this, and like I just remember being sick and then getting it, and then feeling better, and it just kind of clicked too. But like part of me always knew like it has to be from this. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I remember one day I ended up taking probably like 15 perk 15s in one day, like over a period of time.
Yeah.
And then I had some like clarity, like, dude, I have an issue, and like I should probably go get help. You know what I mean? And I'm real bad with like time frames, really, and like how old I was and stuff. I cannot remember, but I was pretty young, and I remember going to my parents because I had some like arguments with them and stuff like that. Like, they knew what was going on, and like they were upset with me, and they were trying their best, and I just think like they honestly didn't know what to do with me. You know what I mean? My parents didn't grow up like that.
Right.
My brother's not like that. So I think they didn't know what to do. But I ended up going to them and telling them, and we ended up finding this place called Woods of Parkside.
Yep.
And, yeah. I go in there, and I'm nervous. I don't know what to expect. I go in there and I see all these people, and immediately I'm judging people and comparing, and I'm like, I'm not like these people in here. I immediately put separation from me and everyone else. I'm unwilling to listen to anything they're saying, and I'm challenging everything because I think I know it all. And they're so like, I remember them specifically. We were in like the auditorium, and they were talking about like how this is a disease, and they were kind of comparing it to cancer. And I remember like telling everyone like, how could you say this is a disease, like, and you're comparing it to cancer? And I just remember thinking like, these people are so like weak. You know what I mean? I just remember thinking like, these people are just weak, like they just can't. I don't know what I thought, but I just I remember thinking that. And boy, was I wrong. That was what I would find out later, that I was terribly wrong.
Right.
I'm surprised you had the foresight to be like, I have a problem. I want to go to treatment.
Yeah.
Like, no one had suggested treatment to you prior to that, and it was just like,
No. I even
That's
went.
wild,
I even
yeah.
went and told some of my friends, right? And they were like, "Man, Casey, you don't need to go there." Like,
Yeah.
I took pills before too, and I just stopped. And
Yeah.
I remember being in my mind like, "Dude, you don't know. Like,
You
I
don't
can't
understand. You're like, "How you don't understand, my dude.
You don't understand."
how long was that first trip in through Parkside?
It was like 3 days, like enough to detox.
3 days. Hell yeah.
Enough to detox, dude.
Yeah.
And like, cause my whole plan was like, I just need to detox.
Yeah.
Off of these pills, dude.
It's
And, like,
always
Yep.
the plan.
Yep.
I can go right back to hustling and making money, and everything will just be great.
I just
dude.
need to get it out of my system.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I just need a break.
Yeah.
I just need a break, and I went back, and immediately jumped right back into doing what I was doing, and it wasn't before long I was back to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just so like easy, I guess, to do so too as well. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So easy. But I just remember just doing it, and not even thinking about it, I guess. I just kind of just fell right back into it. But like, of course, you know, things would get worse. I ended up meeting this girl, and we started dating. Eventually, like, we would move in together, and we had a child together. Like, I got her pregnant. You know, around in the time when she was pregnant, I'm still like doing what I'm doing, but like I'm getting worse. Like, I'm still making money and still able to maintain, but things aren't going well. You know, I'm dibbling and dabbling in like cocaine and doing stuff like that. I'm also like selling cocaine and things like that.
That's a whole nother animal too. When you move from like
Yeah.
selling weed and pills, even like 30s or oxys or whatever into cocaine, that's a whole different clientele base and like
Yeah,
headaches that come with it.
yeah. I remember like
You ever wake up, you have like 85 missed calls from somebody between like 4 and 5 a.m.
No, I haven't. I never really got into it that much. I just had like a few solid people, and I would get it and like sell it to and stuff like that. It wasn't really like my main thing was to get it. It was just if these guys like needed it,
Right.
Oh,
You could
yeah,
get
okay.
it. Yeah.
I could get it, make some money
Yeah.
real
Yeah,
quick,
yeah.
or whatever. And yeah, so you know, I'm still hustling and, you know, doing my deal right out of rehab and fall back into the same patterns. But yeah, like I was saying, I got with her and she got pregnant, and I'm doing like pills and stuff, and she is as well.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But at this time, when she got pregnant, I don't know that. But I'm also not paying attention. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm worried about me,
Right.
and like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
In a sense. But I remember I took her car, and it was like a shitty Cavalier, right? It's 4th of July. I'm going to meet up to get some pills and stuff, and I remember like I'm kind of like texting, you know, looking down, and I'm on Tamarack Circle,
Oh, sure.
and it's 4th of July. People are from out of town. If you're not familiar with there, it's kind of confusing, right? Well, this person slams on the brakes, and I look up and I slam on mine. They're shitty brakes, and I kind of like slide into the car and just bump it, like boop.
Yeah.
And the person gets out, and they're freaking out, which causes me to freak out. And I leave. I just skirt off.
Yeah.
Because my plan was, I had just bagged up like a whole bunch of weed. And in my neighborhood, you could go stand at the corner store and make some quick, fast
Yeah.
money. Like, that's like
Yeah.
what we did. Double your money real quick, come up. Like, that's what we did. So my plan was like, go get my pills first and then head
Yeah.
over there and, you know, hang out there and see if I can make some quick money. But that didn't happen. I ended up fleeing the scene. I got to like this apartment where I was at, and I get out, and the cop pulls up, And he was like, were you driving this car? And I'm like, for some reason I was honest, and I was like, yeah. So they ended up taking me in. Before we go.
The Mental Defectives podcast is proudly brought to you by the House of Hope. Since 1959, the House of Hope has provided substance use disorder treatment focused on long-term recovery.
Services include short and long-term residential treatment for men, certified recovery housing, and outpatient programs for men and women. Using individual and group counseling, CBT, DBT, adventure therapy, financial literacy, and employment services, House of Hope helps individuals rebuild their lives.
Visit hofhope.org or call today to schedule a consultation.
Now let's get back to the episode.
Go in there. He asks, do you have anything on you, right? And I'm like, no. And I knew I did. You know, I just was like, no. Because it was hidden, dude. I thought it was hidden good. Right?
Spoiler alert, if this ever happened to you, it's not hidden as good as you think. They will find it.
Yeah. So I thought it was hidden good. I'm like, whatever. It's my first time going to jail, too. I've never been to jail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever been to jail.
Okay, nice.
And
what were we, like mid-20s at this point?
This was in 2014, and I'm 31, so what would that be? I don't know.
You do the math in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, do the math. But yeah, it says like 2014. But yeah, I'm like, no. So I go in there, and it's just like a hit and skip, like misdemeanor.
Right.
Yeah.
And they come back and tell me like I was in like the waiting area, like waiting to be whatever. And they come and tell me like, hey, you were just however short, like something crazy, like $10 short or whatever from bonding yourself out because I got locked up with some money. So it was like,
shit.
Yeah. So now like we're gonna change you out basically.
Yeah.
So like move you to wherever. So I'm like, all right. So I go to change out, like I take off my pants, and as soon as I do that, there's the corner of the baggies like hanging out of my like boxer briefs.
Yeah.
And the guy is like, what is that? And I'm like, he's like, take it out and throw it to the side. So
Yeah.
I did that, and they came back and was like, well, you did have a misdemeanor, and now you have an F3 felony and like an F4 possession.
Conveyance
Oh.
or...
Yeah, conveyance. So,
Yeah.
So I was like, damn. Right. And then I remember going to court, and they told the judge like how many individually wrapped bags of weed I had. And he was like, he had how many?
How many
do
you have?
I don't even remember, to be honest, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
But he was like, $50,000 bond, and this is my first time in jail, and I hear that number.
Damn.
Yeah, I hear that number, and I'm like, dude, I'm never getting out. I'm never getting out of here.
Right.
So like, you know, you go back and whatever after that, and you call people, and
Yeah.
now you know you're about to be in there. And my friends are like giving me advice and stuff. They're like, don't give anyone your food. They're like, throw it away. If they're hungry, they'll get it out of the trash. Like trying to give me tips and stuff, you know.
Uh-huh.
It's like, bro, give me some money and post my
Yeah.
bail. Get me the fuck out of here.
But like, you know, giving food and stuff could lead to like trouble or
Yeah.
people
Right.
thinking you're weak
Yeah.
or whatever. But I'm in jail, and then you know, I know like I'm about to detox from
Yeah.
pills.
And we're
So-
talking benzos and opiates.
Yeah, but at the
Ooh.
time I didn't know that you could detox from Xanax, right? So I didn't tell them that.
Ooh.
I didn't know at all,
Yeah.
and it never even crossed my mind to even tell them that I was taking it. I just told them like I'm taking, you know, opiates, and you know they don't give you shit for that
Right.
anyway.
Oh, yeah, they just let you sweat it out. And
Yeah,
suck.
so
Yeah.
I'm
Because
like,
you can't die from that, unlike withdrawing from opiates,
right.
where it'll kill you.
so I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna take hot showers and kind of like, you know, sweat it out, dude. And I remember day 3, and I'm not getting any better. I'm feeling worse.
Yeah.
And then like I remember kind of like becoming like detached from reality. Like I can remember like starting to lose it. Like I would go to sleep and I couldn't like decipher what was a dream and what was real.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just started getting worse. Like eventually somehow like I got put into like a pickle suit, like, which is what they do if like they thought you were gonna harm yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do have a brief moment where I was out of the cell, like the sheriff like had me, and I like tried to move or something, and he like I was like 130 pounds. He just picked me up and like put me on the wall. He just like pinned me on the wall. Like, I do remember that. I had like brief like moments that I could remember.
Yeah.
I remember like I would like wake up and I'm like, man, where am I at, dude? Like I'm in like this isolated cell by myself. I'm like, man, where am I at? And I didn't go to court or anything. I eventually, the F3, I guess they dropped that, or they dismissed that and then dropped the F4 possession to a misdemeanor. And I remember my parents having to come to like the back of the jail, like pull up right to the door, and they like helped me into the car. Like that's how messed up I was.
Damn.
Yeah, it was bad.
What would be your best guesses, like amounts you were taking like on a daily basis prior to getting locked up that cause these kinds of effects?
Dude, I was taking a lot. Like I remember just one day, an average day, I would take like 3 to 4 bars, Xanax bars.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
A day. You know what I mean? And yeah, it was wild. And even like out there, I would do like random weird stuff. Like I had like the mother of my child's house where I was living, and like I had like a spot where like me and my buddies had, and like I'm sleeping on the couch at one of my friend's house, and he has like 3 kids, and they're all loud, and like I'm just like hiding out. Like I don't even know why I was over there sleeping on the couch, dude. Just like doing weird random stuff. But yeah, so I get out, and it takes a while for me to like come out of that, you know. But in my mind, for some reason, I was like, man, I really need some perks. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, dude.
Really
Absolutely.
Could really use some perks, man.
Absolutely.
It did kind of help, though.
I'm sure it
You
did.
know what I mean? It
Yeah.
did help. So, yeah, I just, continue to do that. And I come out of it, and at this point, like, things are getting bad, and and eventually, like, I'm not really making money like I was. I'm really just worried about getting high. I'm kind of isolating from, my friends and stuff, because, they couldn't understand it, and I didn't really understand what was wrong with me either, you know.
Yeah.
The way I was raised, I thought like I was just less of a man or something like.
Oh, yeah.
Why couldn't I not do this? Like, why can I not have like the willpower to not do it? And like, why am I lacking in responsibilities and not taking care of things? Like, this isn't how I was raised a man should be. And I was like, man, there's something seriously wrong with me, And I felt so different from all of my friends, because like they could, have a good time and turn it off, or like drink and, do whatever and still do what they needed to do, but I couldn't, you know what I mean? And I just couldn't figure out why. So, but anyway, me and we ended up having my daughter, and we ended up breaking up after that. And then shortly after that, like I was like real depressed, dude. I remember taking like all these pills, and like I overdosed in a sense. And I like remember waking up and like telling my mom and dad or whatever. They took me to the hospital, and then they must have asked some questions or whatever, but they ended up pink slipping me. And I remember going to the psychiatric ward. I think it was like Mount Carmel West. I don't know if that's still there or not, but I remember being in there, and man, I was crazy too. I was like, oh my God.
Is this another like cold turkey coming off of benzos in there?
I can't remember. All I remember is I was trying to get out of there as fast as possible.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm like talking to the doctor and trying to convince him. I think I was in there for like a week.
Okay. Yeah.
And they let me out. But I end up eventually like going back to Parkside. Like I had enough, and I was like, man, something's got to change, right? So I was like more willing. I would say every time I went to rehab, I was a little more willing to listen.
I can relate to that.
A little more willing to listen, and a little more willing to listen. I ended up going in there, and there was like a counselor in there, and we related a lot, and he was like covered in tattoos. He kind of grew up in a rough area. He's from like Detroit, and me and him kind of like clicked, and I was like, man, if he could change his life, he was like telling me his story, and I was like, man, if he could do this, I can. And I ended up, going in there and just trying to do my best, willing to listen and things. I think that was like the first time I ever had like a period of sobriety. If not that time, it was the next time I went back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That actually had put together some time. Like I ended up meeting a girl in there, and
good old rehab romance.
Yeah, I ended up meeting her, and we hit it off, and she was actually doing the deal. You know what I mean? She got a sponsor, and she was going to meetings, and
oh, nice.
And I was doing it too. I was going to meetings, but I didn't get a sponsor.
Of course not.
I was going to meetings. I didn't get a sponsor, but I was trying to do right. Like I went and was taking classes to get my GED. Trying to do the right thing. Eventually, like me and that girl ended up breaking up, and I ended up getting with. She ended up dating my roommate that I was in Parkside with, and somehow like I ended up dating his ex. So we kind of like
just
switched. Yeah, we kind of switched, and so I meet his ex, and I'm hanging out with her, and at this time like I'm starting to drink. Because I think like alcohol's not my problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like opiates, and this is my problem. Like I can drink. So like I'm drinking with her, like meeting up, going fishing and drinking and stuff, or going to the pool drinking. Well, one time, me and her went over like one of her friends' house, and we get like drunk. I'm also like on Vivitrol, so I got on Vivitrol this time just to try to do something different. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I get on Vivitrol, but we go out drinking. I don't know her this well. She's pretty drunk, but like we're leaving and we're about to go to like her place, and I don't know her well enough to be like, hey, give me the keys and I'll drive. So I just get in the car and we go. We stop at Taco Bell, and on the way there, I don't know if she thought she was in like Tokyo Drift, but she was driving kind of wild. But she loses control of the car, and we get into a bad accident. I guess someone had to go come check on us and call the ambulance or whatever. And I wake up in the back of the ambulance, and I'm freaking out because I can't breathe. I'm trying to sit up, and they're like, "Sir, you can't sit up." And I'm like, I can't breathe. And they're like, we think you broke your ribs. And I'm like, yeah, I definitely broke your ribs. But I remember they tried to give me like something, I remember them saying a specific drug. And I'm like, no, like I'm on Vivitrol.
Yeah.
I'm on Vivitrol.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to wear like a necklace in case something, like a tag, or have a card in your wallet.
Have something.
Something, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't have
Right.
that. But
Oh no.
yeah.
Oh no.
But no, they didn't give it to me because I told them in the back of the ambulance.
Oh, thank God.
Okay.
Yeah. So I go to the hospital, and they're like, yeah, your ribs are broken, and we gotta give you a chest tube because there's blood around your lung and it could collapse.
Yeah.
And I can't take any opiates, of course. So they just give me some ibuprofen, and give me the chest tube.
Yeah.
And there's like one of those new, like people in training, so they don't really know what they're doing. They're like fishing around. I'm like,
oh my God. It's like a fucking medieval torture or something.
Yeah, right.
God damn.
Oh God. But yes, but she was at the same hospital, and me and her kind of became close from that experience.
Sure.
And I go through all this with no opiates or anything.
Yeah.
I get out, and it was like the perfect storm. I'm supposed to get my Vivitrol shot, but they're saying the doctor's out of town, and we have this other doctor, but he doesn't bill insurance, and like I can't afford it.
Right.
So then at that time, I have a chance to go to this aftercare for my ribs. And
How many ribs you break?
I don't remember. I had like fractured like a bone in my neck too.
Ooh.
But it was like small. I didn't even know this till years later. My girlfriend's a nurse practitioner. She looked at my chart from years back and she said, "Did you know you fractured your neck?" I'm like, no.
I had no idea.
The Minnesota Defectives podcast is brought to you by Ride Sober, an online community for sober bikers.
At RideXSober on social media and RideXSober.com.
Check them out today for apparel like t-shirts, hoodies, hats, riding gloves, and garage banners.
Ride sober, boldly sober.
Boldly sober.
No idea. Maybe that's why my neck hurts all the time. But yeah, so like I go to the aftercare aftercare thing, and I know she just got some opiates, right? So I'm like, man, you know what? I have this brilliant idea. Like I could get some, and I'm just gonna sell them, right? I'm just gonna sell them. That did not happen. Her drug of choice was also opiates. So now we're back
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
You know, I get a job, and you know, I'm maintaining. You know, things are, you know, kind of all right. But then I remember it was Thanksgiving. We go out drinking. I go out drinking with my cousin on Thanksgiving. I didn't even want to go.
Right.
But I end up going, and long story short, I end up getting in a fight with a bartender, and I break my ankle. I didn't know until the next day.
Ooh.
You get in a fucking jujitsu bar fight? How do you
Yeah.
break an ankle in a bar
Well,
fight?
so I thought that he was trying to talk to my girlfriend when I went out and smoked cigarettes.
Yeah.
And he was like giving us free drinks and stuff, and so I thought he was trying to talk to her, and I think like I did something to her, like I like grabbed her like jokingly, right? And as I like grabbed her and was like letting go, he like jumped over at the bar like to be Superman.
Yeah.
Is what happened, right?
Oh, he would definitely try to holler at
That's
her.
what I mean. That's what I mean, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
what I mean.
That's a little-
And everybody
a little
that
too
was
much.
there, like that we were there with, knew like I was just joking around.
Right,
like,
right,
You
right.
know what I mean? Because I was even laughing, like I was smiling, and she
Yeah.
was smiling, like we were just messing around. But yeah, he wanted to be Superman. So then we like when he jumped and tackled me over the bar, I think my ankle got caught in like the bar stool
Oh.
or something. And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
broke it, and we kind of tussled on the ground, and it wasn't much of a fight,
Right.
but I guess you could say it was a fight. But and then so I limp out of there, and I'm like, fuck all you guys. Fuck all
It's
you
the worst
guys.
Thanksgiving ever.
Right.
So I limp out there, and then the next day I'm like, dude, there's something wrong with my ankle. So I go to the hospital, of course, and it's broken. And then I'm unable to work. So that's,
Right.
you know, downhill from there. Like, I forgot to mention, before this, I had already started to experience with like heroin and stuff. And doing that before all of this. So I was clean off of heroin. That was like my drug of choice at the time.
Yeah.
And but we were doing pills and stuff, and I break my ankle. I remember getting surgery, right? Something like that. I did have to get surgery. I can't remember if it was before or after, but I remember saying like I can get something stronger and
Yeah.
cheaper, you know. And she's never done it before, and that's when we like got some heroin. But I remember going and getting surgery, dude. It was like the worst pain of my life, dude. And I don't know if it was because I was already doing opiates, and they gave me like
Oh,
the
I'm
smallest
sure.
amount
Yeah.
that
That's
they
why.
could give
Yeah.
me.
That's why.
And they gave me like this blocker. But
Yeah.
when the blocker wore off, it was like they were doing surgery right then and there on me, dude. I was freaking out. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, I started doing heroin again. And
How long were you? What was the impetus? What was the first time you did heroin?
The first time I did heroin, that I can recall, I think like I had got some to sell, right? And maybe I couldn't find any pills.
Sure.
And it was like some black tar heroin.
Yep.
And you know, I didn't know anyone that like shot it or like how to do it. So I might have like looked it up or something. I don't remember. But I ended up like mud puddling it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And,
so
yep.
gross.
I remember it not really doing what I wanted it to do. And I was kind of pissed, dude. But I was like, what is the hype about? You know,
Right.
why is everybody doing this?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, everyone was like switching, doing
Yep.
that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, so it was no good. Eventually, I got a hold of some good stuff,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is all I'm doing.
Yep.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And yeah, so that's what it was. And at that point, that's when I was like super isolated from everyone. And that's what like made me want to go back to rehab and like really listen
Right.
and give it a shot, because I just had this feeling, like this undescribable feeling of just like loneliness and despair. But I never fully understood the disease yet. I still thought this was something I could beat, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is what like kept me sick for a long time. But yeah, so we're doing that. Eventually, like me and her, we're like barely scraping by. Sometimes we'll go we're like staying at my parents', right? And then they had enough, we'll move to her parents. And then when they had enough, we would go back to my parents until like somehow we figured out and got an apartment, right? And I can't hold a job to like save my life
Yeah.
at all. Like maybe
Are
enough.
you hustling at this point at all, or you're strictly just like middleman to get me through the day type thing?
So I had some things going. So she could hold a job. She was kind of different.
Okay.
So she was able to hold a job. She got a job at like a pediatrician. That's like a children's doctor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, at an office, like a own private practice.
Yeah.
And she ended up talking to the doctor one day, and he like gave her this test and was like, I think you have ADD and you have anxiety, so I'm gonna give you Adderall and I'm gonna give you Klonopin.
Let's
Oh,
go.
Shit.
Right. And he's like, I'm gonna give you the extended release
Adderalls?
and the regular ones, right? And the Klonopins. It was like a whole bunch, right? So she was like, you know what, you should go and see if he would see you. For one, I don't even know if this is legal for him at my age to accept me as a new patient.
Right.
But I ended up going, and I got the same thing.
Oh,
She
shit.
told me exactly like what to say,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and what to do, and he was like an older guy too.
Yeah.
But anyways, I ended up getting that, and we would sell those and make some money. And I would say this to my father, God bless that man, never gave up on me, was always there for me, tried his best. He would always take me to rehab when I needed him to. I probably have taken years off this man's life, but he's always been there. So like if I needed money, my dad was helping me out because he didn't want me to wreck my life.
Yeah.
And he thought that was his way of
Yeah.
Yeah.
making sure that wouldn't happen.
Yep.
He didn't want me to go to prison or end
Right.
up dead, or so like, you know, that was his way, I guess, you know what I mean? Some people would say it's enabling, but you know,
When they don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, like my family was the same thing. I was the first person to like kind of go through this. They're like, they just don't know any better, and they think it's helping. And it is helping, but it is enabling. But
Right.
it's always a
Right.
blurry line.
yeah, and if it was your kid, everyone can say something until they're in that situation.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
You don't know what you
100%.
might do. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But yeah, so he would also help out and give money and do what he could. Well, eventually, like me and her would like argue a lot, like any drug addict couple would do. Argue a lot, and I remember finally I was like, dude, I have enough. And we always talked about like going to rehab, but it was always together, and it always had to be like together. Or the time was never right, so or we would decide like we're gonna stop ourselves and we'll get these Suboxone, and then I'm throwing myself into precipitated withdrawal
Oh.
and calling the dope boy at 3 a.m. and having her drive me to him. And
So break down for the people that don't know precipitated withdrawal and the living hell
Yeah.
that
Oh,
is.
the worst.
yeah, so if you take a Suboxone too early,
Which is like an opiate blocker that they give you in detox to get you off of opiates.
yeah, it will throw you into instant withdrawal. It like, I don't know exactly how it works. I think it like probably like knocks all the like dopamine off your receptors.
Yeah, some shit like that.
Something like that, and it throws you into instant withdrawal. And it's not just withdrawal; it's like the worst withdrawal you could ever experience in your life,
terrible.
dude. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And you literally just want to like jump out of your skin, dude. But yeah, so like that would happen. But eventually, though, I was like, you know what? Like we're arguing. I had enough. Like I'm gonna go to my parents' house. And I'm taking the keys, you know what I mean? Because my dad had ended up giving us a car to try to like help us like get on our feet probably, and like so we could get to work. And, you know what I mean? So I'm taking the keys and I'm going. And she didn't like that too well. And long story short, like I ended up leaving, and either her or the neighbors called the police. And they came, and since I wasn't there to give my side of the story, I automatically get like a warrant out for my arrest for domestic violence.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I didn't know this, but I go back to my parents' house, and you know things are getting bad, and you know they're like, look, like you got something's got to give. Like you either got to go get help or get out. Like we're done with this shit. And I always had like this scheme, right? I'm like, oh, I always had this plan, like, well, this is the plan, so I was like, you know what, since I was like, take me to Talbot Hall. I'll go to Talbot Hall. Same thing happened, you know, I go thrown into precipitated withdrawal. I check myself out. I call my mom. I begged my mom for $40 so I could feel better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I'm like, dude, I can't make it past the first step when I go to treatment. Like, I can't even make it past that. I was like, I got to do something different. So I have this idea, like, I'm going to go to this methadone clinic, right? It's a new one. It just opened up. But it's like all the way out of Columbus, dude. I don't even remember where it was. Maybe Logan. I don't know.
Oh, hell.
Yeah.
Somewhere far. I remember just having to drive all the way to down 23 to get to this place, like super far.
Yeah.
And my dad's taking me.
Shit.
And like this is how much like he would do to try to help me. You know what I mean? And he was taking me. But you know, even that wasn't working. Like I'm doing that. And now, I'm doing fentanyl. You know what I mean? I'm doing that and fentanyl.
Yeah.
So it's just bad. But
are you already hearing, like, is fentanyl already in like the news at this point about like?
Yeah.
Like, was that like did you have any like trepidation about like?
You want to know what's crazy is like, for the longest, I never even knew for sure that I was doing fentanyl.
Me
you know
too.
what I mean? Like, I was never like, hey, do you have some fentanyl? Like, I was just buying what I always buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I'm pretty sure it was fentanyl.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, I didn't ever ask.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't seek that. That wasn't like what I was saying when I was buying this stuff. So I didn't really know when it switched or whenever. Like, you know what I mean? It just kind of was it. Like, you know. And I could never say for sure because I just didn't know.
Yeah.
But I had an idea.
Yeah,
you know
there
what I mean?
towards the end, I know that all the stuff that I got was probably fentanyl. Because I got out right when it just took over because I was doing black tar for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, this weird fentanyl shit that doesn't last.
Yeah, yeah. And then I had got clarification too because when I went to that methadone clinic, they drug tested me.
Yeah.
They were like, you have
You're
fentanyl in your
positive for
system.
fentanyl,
So I'm like, well, yeah. But they are like attached to this rehab center called Recovery Works, right? And I'm at the end of my rope, dude. Like, I'm literally have run out of road, right? So, you know, I get it set up to go to Recovery Works, you know, beg my dad for some money and the chance to go get it. And which somehow I could always convince him real quick, right? I'll just share this story. Like, it was Christmas morning, right? And you know, like, Christmas morning, you're not just getting in touch with drug dealers, right?
Yeah.
I'm sick.
Right.
somehow like I get in touch with my buddy and convince my dad to drive me all the way to the east side.
Damn.
You know what I mean? And I do it because I'm sick, and then I get in the car, and I don't know what happened, but I guess he had to like help me out of the car, and I just remember of like walking in and like seeing the disgust on my family's face.
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, dude.
Then I woke up in the bathroom all folded up like a pretzel, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just shit like that, like bad stuff. But yeah, so I convinced my dad, and I go get it, and then I do end up going. He ends up taking me there, and I remember when I walked in, you know, I said like an honest prayer, like, God, you know, like, please help me, because I couldn't even make it past the detox phase, and like I did not want to do this anymore. Like I was just so tired of, like, I didn't care if I lived or died at some points, you know what I mean? Like I was just waking up and existing to do the same thing over and over and over again, and could not I couldn't change it. Like I could not change it. At one point I just thought like, this is going to be my life.
Hey, Mental Defectives.
Would you like to advertise on our podcast?
If so, email us at mentaldefectivespodcast@gmail.com.
So we can help you make a lot of money.
A whole lot of money.
Dude. And with my luck, I always said like I wouldn't die. I would just be miserable forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I go in there, and you know, my dad drops me off, and I go in there, and things were just different, man. Like I was like, I told myself like, I'm not gonna take this Suboxone. I'm gonna wait as long as I can, dude.
This precipitated withdrawal thing.
Yes, like, cause I'm like, I have to wait.
Yeah.
And while I was in there, you know, God works in mysterious ways, but I ended up meeting this guy, you know, and we were doing the same thing, and we kind of like were talking, and I'm like, well, when's the last time you used? And he told me, and I was like, well, this is the last time I used. And we were waiting, and then he was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna go get it. So I was like, all right, well, go ahead and let me know how it works out. You know? And like he was shorter than he waited a shorter period of time than me, and he was okay. So I was like, man, I should be fine.
Yeah.
And you know, I went and took it, and I was good, and I was like, yes, got past this step. Like, thank God I got past this step.
Yeah.
And then so now I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do the deal. Like I'm gonna stay the whole 30 days in inpatient. I'm gonna stay the whole 30 days, and I'm like, I'm not just gonna stay the whole 30 days. Like I'm gonna go to every group possible.
Yep.
I'm just gonna go to every group. I'm gonna like listen, because I had like threw up the surrender flag, dude. At this point, I just felt like I do not know what's best for me or how to run my life, dude, at all. And I needed somebody to tell me. So I was like, I'm open for whatever. And you know, I went to every group, started like making my bed every morning, and just starting to feel better. And I complete that, and they're like, you know what, Casey, you should go to PHP, right? And I'm like, PHP? Okay. Like, I'll go to PHP. So I go to PHP, me and my buddy, like, we both make that decision. We go to PHP, and we were in there for a month. And, you know, we're going to groups, and it's a little more, like, lenient, like, you know, it's, like, kind of, like, to get you back into, like, life. You know what I mean? So, like, we're all staying in this house, and, like, we're able to, like, be on the phone more, and, you know, things like that. And we're still going to, like, group for, like, however long hours out of the time and stuff. But I complete that, and right before then, we had this conversation about, like, what are you going to do when you get out of here? And I was like, you know what? I haven't really thought about it much. I'm probably just going to go back to my parents' house.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, man. Like, no, like, you should go to sober living. He was like, And he always had this way of making things sound cool. Like he was just gifted, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Making things sound cool. So he was like, no, you know what, dude? You should go to sober living. And I was like, and he said, like, you know, it'll help you become a man.
Mm.
You know, quit depending on your parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? Okay. So he hooked me up with this guy. I called him, and he's like, all the beds are full. A lot of people, all the beds were full. So the lady, the head of the PHP program, was like, okay, we'll call this one place. I call them, and they're like, yeah, we have a bed. And they're like, okay, well, he's gonna leave at this time, whatever. And I think we had called back later, closer to the time where I'm about to leave, and they're like, well, we don't have the bed anymore.
Mm.
So I was like, oh man. So I was like, I guess I am going back to my parents. And she was like, no, you should call this person one last time. And I called him, and magically he had a bed available. It was like God, dude.
Yeah.
So, you know, I get out of there, and all this stuff is like new. Like life was just so new. I kind of miss early sobriety where everything's just so new, fresh, and exciting, dude.
Good
like,
time,
yeah, you know. But things are still exciting, but not like that where everything is just new. But so I go there, and I end up meeting this guy, and he's actually doing the deal, and you know, he has like a similar story, and I could relate to him. And he's like going to meetings. He's like going and speaking at rehab facilities.
Yeah.
He's like going there, like doing all this service work, you know. And I could see things like changing in his life. Like he was like, he like ran the house manager at the sober living.
Yeah.
He like ran the house, and like he was my roommate. And he was having like his sponsor come over there working steps, and things like that. And it just made me like kind of hungry for it too, you know. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna work the steps this time, like, because I'm like determined now. Like everything I've been doing different has been working.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I had got out. I got like a job. And get like when you go there every day and do what you're supposed to do, like, you know,
crazy how it
turns
works.
out it's like
you know
it works
I mean?
out.
It works out great. I end up moving up, pretty quick.
How about that?
It was crazy, man. Like I moved up quick and got into a position like I was a material handler, right? So I would take the carts to like the packers of the work for them to pack, and I would like keep their boxes stocked. Eventually I became the lead, where I helped manage all the other material handlers and things like that, which was like just blew my mind, dude. And I did that, and I ended up going to church and stuff. You know, I had a moment in rehab that like made me want to like seek out God and get to know Him more. So like I started going to church, and my buddy suggested it too. He just had his way of making it sound cool. He was like, you know, I know this guy, and
he
you know,
rode with these 12 dudes back in the day, like hookers, like.
But he's like,
he's tight,
he had
bro.
long hair.
Yeah.
No, but he's like, no, I know this guy, and he goes to Catholic church, and he's like breaking down like the things like Catholic people do and like what things mean. He's like, that's the body of Christ, and stuff like, he's just breaking all this stuff down. He just had this way of making it sound cool, dude. I'm like, dude, that sounds kind of cool, dude. I'm like, we should go check that out. He's like, okay. So like I was going and doing that and stuff with him. And
you get baptized into the whole.
No, I did not. He did though. So he ended up going through like the process and got accepted into the church. And I was there for that with him and his parents, and it was a spiritual moment. It was pretty cool.
And how'd you get into the apprenticeship for like the iron work?
The ironwork, So like this was way later. I like to speed it up. Like I ended up losing that job at the warehouse. And then so I started doing like home remodeling, which is what I did in the past when I was using. You know? So I started doing that. But the guy who was my roommate in the sober living, he is an iron worker.
Gotcha.
He's an iron worker, and he was making good money. But for some reason, I used to just think like, well, I didn't do it because I was like, you know what, I'm moving up quick at this job, and like it feels good. Like I actually put in hard work, and I'm moving up. I'm seeing results. Like let me stay there. But you know, of course, with me being sober, I become unhumble, and I'm like, you know what, I deserve this and this and this, and you know, God has a way of humbling you. So, but yeah, I eventually end up, you know, getting my GED, like completing my GED. And you know, I had like some options on the table of like what I was gonna do. I was either gonna like become a firefighter, but then I figured out like you had to be sober for like a period of time, and you also had to have a period of time away from like doing any drug transactions. Like they give you a lie detector test to become a firefighter.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I wasn't even gonna waste my time. Like I went and took like the exam and all that stuff, and then I think that was like the last step. But like I wasn't even gonna be able to do that because you know. So the next option was to become an iron worker. I got my GED, and it's required you have that. And you know, I went there, took the test, and you know, got hired on. You know what I mean? But yeah. So you know, that's been good. But yeah, so like I just did the deal, and like I got out, and I stayed sober. You know what I mean? I had like finally surrendered and quit thinking I knew what was best for myself. You know, I ended up moving sober livings, and I went to this other sober living that I had my own bedroom, and like that was like a real family atmosphere. I became close with a lot of the guys, and what I forgot to mention is my buddy is the one who vouched for me to get in this sober living because he knew all these people, and like he linked me up with all these people. He had a period of sobriety beforehand, and like he knew a whole bunch of people and stuff like that. So he like linked me up with all these people, and you know, I got in with them, and it was just like a family dynamic, dude. Like we would go to meetings, and then we would go out to eat after, and like they, like before I got sober, like my whole life literally consisted of like a 3-block radius. Like I didn't really go do anything. I didn't go anywhere. Like it just consisted. It was just a bubble. Like my world was so small. I got sober, and you know, they're taking me to like all these nice restaurants, like this crazy like restaurants I've never even been to, like Barcelona's and like all these places around Columbus, like real nice fancy restaurants. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. I like this. I really like this.
This is cool. What are these tapas? Let me get one on one.
It's a tapo, dude.
And then I don't know when this episode is going to come out, so you've either got a child on the way or will probably be here by the time the episode airs. What's that experience been like?
It's definitely been different, because like I'm sober. Like I've never actually been physically present and gone through like this, you know what I mean? But it's been good. Like I'm excited. I'm having a little boy.
Nice.
Congratulations, dude. That's awesome.
I'm going to say the name Jerry Jr. is on the table. If you need.
Well,
I think he might sign off on that.
We have some names, but we're not disclosing them at this moment. But life has been good. Like I'm super excited about that. He's due October 7th.
Oh, he's already here. Congratulations in advance.
October 7th he will be born. But yeah, dude, life. I have a life that I just never expected, like, ever. Like, when I had like a small plan when I first got sober, like what things could be like.
Yeah.
And dude, it's been
blown past that 100 times.
Dude, way past it. It's like,
Uh-huh.
you know, I got sober and all these things just became possible that I never thought was possible. You know? Like just doors opened up. And it was like, you know, like nothing's off the table. I ended up going back to school. You know what I mean? Went to college. You know, I never really got good grades, and you know, in college, I'm getting like A's and B's. Like I had made the dean's list.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And your life has just been great.
That's
know?
awesome.
Hell yeah.
So good.
Casey, what advice would you have for someone looking to get into the trades, or like what's a key to being like a successful iron worker?
I would say, dude, you have to be a special type of person to do iron work.
You're like scaling buildings and welding shit. Is
Yeah,
that
you
do I
almost-
have that right?
You
Like,
almost either have to be a drug addict or a recovering drug addict.
yeah.
Alcoholic, dude.
Not active.
Not active. Don't be active. But yeah, no. But you just have to be a different type of person, you know. I remember when I was telling people like, dude, I'm about to be an iron worker. They're like, you thought about this? I'm like, yeah. Like,
thought about that hourly wage.
yeah, like
Yeah.
this is what I'm gonna do. They're like, but you're exposed to the heat and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, you know, I would say if you want to do it, like do it. Trades are like dying for people. You know,
Yeah.
everybody these days just wants to sit in an office.
Yep.
Or
Work from home.
work from home. Like, there's not many people that like want to do this type of stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good money. I remember going there and they asked how I knew my buddy, and I was like, you know, I can't tell you. I can't disclose that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
how I know
right.
him, dude. 'Cause
Yeah.
they were like pressing me.
Oh,
They're like, buddy, everybody here knows already. Like,
Yeah.
we know this is the home of second chances.
Yeah.
And I was just like, they're like, we have a meeting at our hall.
Oh, shit.
nice.
That's cool.
So I was
That
like,
is
oh, I'm
cool.
right at home, dude.
yeah, here we
You
go.
know what I mean?
Sweet.
But yeah, it just takes like, you just have to be like a different type of person. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are other trades to get involved in. You know what I mean? This just so happened to play out for me, and like I enjoy it. You know
Oh,
what
yeah.
I mean? I enjoy it.
What advice would you have for somebody just getting sober or just trying to get sober early on?
Early on, I would say, like you have to be completely just open for suggestions. You know, I feel everybody's bottom's different, but I feel you have to be at a point to where you feel like you don't know any, like you are at the point where you're just like, you know what, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? And you just have to be willing to take suggestions. And then I would say also, like, don't compare your journey to anyone else's. Like, comparison is the killer of all joy. You know what I mean? Like, things might happen quickly for you or slowly, but if you work at it, it is always going to happen. Like, it's always going to materialize for you.
Yeah.
And I remember having to learn that lesson for myself. Like, I would get sober, and then I would see Dan over here just got this new car, and this guy over here just got this hot girlfriend or whatever.
Right,
and
right.
I'm like, dude, I don't have anything, dude. I'm over here trying to find rides.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I have the new car? Like,
Right.
just like crazy things were happening for people, you know, like this guy, like I said, like I know a guy who got gifted a car. Like,
Oh, sure.
Like, dang, dude,
Yeah.
this guy just gave you a car.
Yeah.
But and I would compare myself to other people, and then I would I would become discouraged, or I'd be
Sure.
like, this isn't in the cards for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I mean? It would just take all the joy I had. You
Yeah.
know, in the moment I started just to focus on my journey and realize that it's separate and not focus on what anyone else is doing. That's when things also changed. Like, my perspective had changed as well, you know?
Yeah. For sure.
Well, Casey, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it, dropping jewels. Last thing before we get out of here, you were telling me that Dave Franco gave the James Franco gave the worst performance of his life in Spring Breakers, and it's the shittiest movie to ever be made. What do you mean by that?
Did I say that?
It's the Mental Defectives podcast. It's Milligram, Jerry with G. Casey's here. We'll see you next time. Peace. If you or someone you know is struggling with drugs or alcohol, contact the House of Hope today
At hofhope.org or call for a consultation.